Hello, my fellow boxing enthusiasts. You know there's an old saying, once a boxer loses the fire, he should retire.
Do you still have that same fire you used to?
I don't know,
And Deontay Wilder visibly was okay losing, and visibly lost the fire inside to continue his boxing journey to the top.
I've been wearing this smile all week long, and I'ma still wear it. Win, lose, or draw, I'ma wear my smile all week long because I'm blessed and I'm highly favored.
Now he's at a point where sadly more and more boxers are ending up at. He's just doing this all for the money. Very few boxers are hungry and still want to prove that they are the best in the division. Guys like Joseph Parker, the great Alexander Usyk, and as it seems now again Anthony Joshua are the very few who want to prove that they are the best. Oh yeah, I will give credit where credit is due, as I always have, and I will continue to do. But more about Anthony Joshua's fight later in the video. Deontay Wilder, it is time for you to hang up your gloves and never lace up your boots again, because you have nothing left to do at this level in a professional boxing ring. We always knew you was a one-punch wonder. We always knew you liked boxing technique, but punches like this, man. During last night's performance, you were a mere shadow of the bronze bomber we saw a couple of years ago. Last night, you exposed yourself. You exposed your horrible footwork, and most importantly, you have exposed yourself clearly not having trained for this fight. I mean, you can even rewatch this fight, even though I wouldn't recommend you do so. Wilder hardly threw any punches until round 8 or 9, and he was constantly on the back foot trying to create distance between himself and Joseph Parker. His legs seemed wobbly the entire time, and his footwork was nicely put awkward. Wilder has always been criticized back in the day for having weak legs. And his words were that he didn't want to put on more muscle onto his legs because it would take away his footwork and movement. Man, you have no footwork, you have no movement, and more muscles on your legs would actually give you more stability to sit down on a punch and help that right hand. You were 213 pounds for this fight, pretty much the same weight as the first time you fought the Gypsy King, Tyson Fury, and I thought that was one of the best performances you've ever delivered. However, this time around, even though you were the same weight pretty much, you looked soft and rather untrained. Maybe it's like a motivation, maybe it's your age that's getting to you. Maybe it's the ring rust for not having fought in a year. Or maybe it's the money that's preventing you to see any reason to continue with the hardest job in the world, being a professional boxer. And I'm personally kind of banking on the money part, especially because you mentioned it as well post-fight.
But, I've done a great job with managing my money, investing, and, I'm a happy fighter. You know what I'm saying? We go in here and do what we do.
I think it's beautiful if a person finds happiness and peace within their life and within themselves, but being a professional boxer and a true killer in the ring and drinking some ancient hallucinogenic soup most definitely doesn't go hand in hand.
Most definitely,
I've been in Rhythmia and done ayahuasca. I've found a lot of peace in my life. I found a lot of happiness in my life.
Man, I'm out of here, bro.
At this point, if you want to continue in this sport, Deontay, then maybe go to Rough and Rowdy and knock out some more bums. Which knocking out bums is your field of expertise. Let's be totally honest. Proof of that is your fight record alone. And I think that's the only fair compensation you can ask the people to pay their hard-earned money for. What happened last night was basically a scam, a fraud action to rob people of a lot of money, and even worse, robbing them of their time.
You literally lost every round on the judges' scorecards, and you still had the audacity to raise your arm as the victor and winner of this fight. It was so clear. I mean, the only explanation I have is that your perception of reality has clearly changed ever since you took ayahuasca.
You just sit here and you don't know what I'm talking about?
Deontay, when that final bell rang, it seemed like you felt you did enough to get the win, did you?
Yeah, I did, but, my timing was off a little bit. And,
Now, I don't want to take away anything from Joseph Parker's performance. He did a great job, and I really like him as a person and a boxer, but I believe the Deontay Wilder 3 years ago would have beat Joseph Parker rather easily, but that's just my opinion. Now, I know many of you are surprised of my comments regarding Deontay Wilder, but that's the truth. and I am one who speaks the truth. Of course, I enjoy watching certain boxers more than others, and I am a fan of certain boxers, but if I see that a certain boxer is not bringing the performance he once did, then I will speak the truth. Then I will point that out, and that's why you great fellow boxing enthusiasts come to my channel, because I believe boxing is the greatest sport.
Subscribe.
I am very grateful for the entertaining fights Deontay Wilder has brought to the sport over the years. I think his story of success is pure inspiration. I think he has changed as a person in a good way.
You just get back up and you keep trying. That's what life is all about. Falling and getting back up, falling and getting back up. You can't quit, you can't give up, you must keep going.
But I believe that any further fights he agrees to be part of will damage his legacy and his boxing career. Speaking of truth, you all know that I have been accused of building my following only on the bashing of Anthony Joshua. Well, I'm going to give credit where credit is due, and I am very surprised in a positive way about AJ's development in the ring. It seems the old AJ is back in the sense that he is the aggressor in the ring looking for the knockout and not being afraid of getting punched back. He is also staying true to his character. No speaking about remaining humble, this and that. He seems pissed off and angry, and in my opinion, that fits him way better, and he is improving at his craft. I think Anthony Joshua is good for the sport, and I think he's in it for the right reasons, and that is to be at the top of Mount Heavyweight once again and become 3-time World Heavyweight Champion. With the attitude he showed us now on Saturday, I think he can give Alexander Usyk a real problem for the first time since they have fought. In general, I must say that it's very apparent that it's not clear who the top heavyweight is anymore besides Usyk, and even for him, he might lose to 1 or 2 of the top 10 boxers in the heavyweight division. I think at this level and at this time with these fighters who are in the top 10, it just comes down to how the physical and mental state is on fight day. It doesn't really matter as much what your camp was like. If you ain't feeling good on fight day, then you will most likely lose. Andy Ruiz and Big Bang Zhang are the wild cards in this whole mix in my opinion, and the only 2 guys who can really give Alexander Usyk problems.
Not impressed. I think everybody.
Now to end this video, I need to talk about Saudi Arabia and boxing. It's clear that in 5 years, basically the new mecca of boxing will be in Riyadh. And I think it's sad. I'm not saying the Saudis aren't boxing enthusiasts as well, but I know for a fact that just throwing immense money at boxers to come and fight at your stadium in your country is sending the wrong message to boxers. This shouldn't be about simply get paid as much as possible. Of course, I want boxers to be fairly compensated. However, the whole philosophy that this greatest sport is built on has nothing to do with what is being done to the sport at this very day. You believe boxers would fight in Saudi Arabia if they were getting paid the same amount as in the United States? Of course not. And I tell you why. Because they would say the history of professional boxing lies in the United States. And there's only one mecca of boxing, and that is the Madison Square Garden. Sadly, the sport of heavyweight boxing is dying. In 5 years, heavyweight boxing will be a boring spectacle to watch. There will be champions changing constantly. We will see poorer performances like Wilder, Big Baby Miller, and let's face it, Otto Wallin, who quit on his corner chair. Oh, and I don't get it. You get paid millions to fight at the highest level. You get a one-shot to fight Anthony Joshua. You pay strength and conditioning coaches, as well as nutritionists, insane amounts of money to get you in the best shape of your life, and you come in looking like this? I know looks don't matter. I mean, look at Tyson Fury and Andy Ruiz. But man, you don't even look trained at all. Big Baby Miller talking shit.
Thank you, Daniel Dubois, for being the dummy to sign the contract, because I'm going to beat your ass. So I'm telling you something, when you find a mean guy like me that's throwing 80 punches around.
80 punches around? More like 80 punches throughout a whole 10-round fight.
How you doing?
I guess you and Deontay Wilder must have had the same game plan going into this event. Prove to everyone that you can take a punch and not punch back.
As much as I don't like Deontay, I know Deontay will put that motherfucker in the grave. So I'll make it easy for you. Either you can fight Deontay and go to the grave, or fight me and go to the hospital. Either way, you can get your ass whooped. So pick your poison.
The only thing you're putting in the hospital is donuts by the dozens.
You know where that come from? Watching that damn TV. Every time you turn it on, they got somebody in there talking about lose weight.
get healthy, get in shape. Get everybody looking all anorexic, talking about that's healthy. I know what healthy is. And tell you something else. You can sew up your stomach and your asshole. You're going to always be fat.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Just get it all out.
And it seems that according to the current state that Deontay Wilder is in, he's more likely to give Anthony Joshua a hug than put him in a grave.
Been in Rhythmia and done ayahuasca. I've found a lot of peace in my life. I found a lot of happiness in my life.
This is what Big Baby Miller posted on social media right after the fight, saying, "Real warriors don't quit, rest and back to work. Congrats to my little bro, Daniel Dubois, the Shrimp." You also said that Daniel Dubois' punches didn't really hurt you. And yes, it may be true that you did in fact not go down. Nobody can say you can't absorb punishment, which you can really take a punch, and Deontay Wilder can clearly take a punch. But if you really take that statement apart, it's nothing to brag about. After a fight, if fans and critics have one thing to say, that being that you can really take a punch, then your performance really sucked.
Man, I am embarrassed for US boxing being represented across the world in such a disgraceful way. The eyes of the sport will shift more to the lighter weight classes, and I think that's a good thing, because that's the place where we can still, to this day, find old school boxers and old school fights. The philosophy of boxing must stay alive. Boxing has the ability, more than any other sport, to change people's lives. I will say this again. Boxing has the ability, more than any other sport, to change people's lives. Let that sink in. And not because a boxer can become filthy rich, but because boxing will provide you with all the necessary tools to get through life and become a good person. Discipline, humbleness, and most of all, respect. 3 things the world and today's generation are lacking more than ever before. Drop a like if you've enjoyed this video, and let me know in the comment section below if you agree what was said by myself here today. I will see you in the next one, and I will catch you on the counterpunch, fellow boxing enthusiasts.
Have a good day, have a good week, have a good month. Okay? Bye bye.
So say good night to the bad guy. The last time you're gonna see a bad guy like this again.